Jai Gurudev. So today here we are to learn another topic in computer. Okay, in the last video you have seen about the programming language and how to do a simple program. Okay, now today we will see what are the different parts of the computer. As you all know, now computer can function only when the instructions are given. So when an instruction is given, how computer takes that we need to see it. So when you see a parts of the computer, here I am emphasizing on internal parts of the computer because you already know the external parts of the computer and you have seen it and you know the functions of that: mouse, keyboard, monitor, microphone, speaker. These devices you all already seen and you know about that. So we give more importance to internal parts of the computer in this video. So parts of the computer, internal parts of the computer, they already are also called as computer hardware, internal computer hardware. Now, what are those peripherals of the computer which are inside the CPU or a cabinet? Output devices, input devices. These two are function together. One will take instructions and another one will give the output in the form of a reports. Okay, so whatever instructions given through a input devices has to be stored in one location called as a storage device. After that, the processor, the CPU will does this task, then you will get the output. Now, these parts which we have not seen. Okay, so these are internal parts of the computer. CPU, hard disk drive, random access memory, power supply. These are called as internal parts of the computer. Bus, expansion parts. So today in this video, we are going to learn little about each part of this computer. So let's explore the internal peripherals of computer. So I don't know how many of you have seen a computer in this way. Yes, so this is how it looks inside. Yes, we all know there is a cabinet next to the monitor. Sometimes it's called as a CPU also. Actually, CPU is inside this one. Now, this is called as internal part. Okay, so all these parts are assembled in a motherboard. So this is how generally we have seen the cabinet. Yes, okay, so I have opened this cabinet so that I can show you each part inside this cabinet. So this is the external parts which are there inside the computer. So you can see there is a board which is fixed to this cabinet. So all the other small components are assembled in that. Yes. Now here you can see power supply box. Okay. And here in this side you can see hard disk. And this is a CD drive. So here if you see inside, there are multiple expansion fans slots are given in this one, and you can see a fan inside this. So now we are going to see each part of this. We're going to discuss about each part of this one. There is a CPU also inside this one. Yes, that is not clearly visible. I'll show you a little later. So what is the function of this one? We will see first. This is power supply box. Now, if you see, the power supply cable is here. Yes, and you can see one small fan also inside this one. So there are two fans. One is in the motherboard for the circuitry and another one is inside the power supply box. So the power supply box you have seen. So what is the importance of power supply box? As we know, there is a cable. Directly it will be connected to the power button. So what is the requirement of this power supply box inside this one? The power supply box converts the high voltage into a low voltage. Why? Because when you see for how much we require for a home consumption, that much voltage is not required for the functioning of the internal parts of computer. So that converts the high voltage into a low voltage. How much ever required, each circuitry required the different requirement. So according to that, it will supply the power into that one. So its name might suggest it is the device that supplies power to all the components in the computer. Its case holds the transformer, voltage control, and the cooling fan, which I told it is visible from the outside also. What it does, while the fan is required, it cools this particular device inside. The power supply converts about 100 to 120 volts of AC power into low voltage DC power for the internal components. So whatever you can see, whatever power it is taken through this one, it will be converting into low voltage, and it will be giving to different components of the according to the requirement of that one. This enables different power supplies to be interchangeable with the different components inside the computer. So this is the function of power supply box. So you can see there are two cylindrical battery kind of device. So that is called as capacitors, that also inside the power supply box. What it does, it is used to stabilize the voltage in the DC power system. They charge up to the supply voltage and retain that charge until the supply voltage starts to fall. Okay, so this is the fan. This is not the fan which I am showing here, which is inside here. That is inside this. Here inside there is one fan. So it is fixed to the motherboard actually, next to the CPU. What it does, whenever all the components works inside, so heat will be generated. That heat has to reduce. So that done by the fan. So how it works? The role of the computer fan is to pull the cooler air into the computer to cool the hot circuitry, okay, particularly the CPU. So that generates a lot of heat. So it requires some device to cool it. In a desktop, the fan is typically a part of the power supply that draws air to it, helping to keep the part of the computer cool. So you can imagine how much heat it generates inside when it functions. Yes? So next, motherboard. So that is a rectangular board. Okay. So that is very important. Why? Because all the component, it holds all the component, all the small devices are fixed into that. So that holds all those. With the help of that, all this will function together. So it is an interface. We can call that as an interface. So it is the central circuit board making up the complex electronic system. Now, a motherboard provides the electrical connections by which the other components of the system can communicate. Okay, the motherboard includes many other components: central processing unit, random access memory, firmware, and internal and external buses. So here you can see the you can have a proper look of the motherboard, because here it's not visible, it is inside. And the fan and the other expansion slots, you can see it inside. Yes. So we'll discuss about the central processing unit. So here you can see the central processing unit, or a CPU, or a processor. Okay. So here it is displayed in a very large scale actually. It is very small chip. Maybe sometimes a 2 rupee coin size. Yes. Not more than that. Okay, but it holds millions of transistors inside that one. The task what it does is huge. So here it is, Intel Pentium. This is a processor. Next, so how CPU functions, that we'll see here. In my this one I cannot show you because it is so small. That's what I told. It's a 2 rupee coin size big, so it's not possible for me to highlight that one. It is in a rectangular shape. Okay, so how CPU functions? The CPU sends signals to control the other parts of the computer. So that's how our brain functions in a body. Exactly the same function the CPU does, the processor does inside the computer. The CPU is an electronic machine that works on a list of things to do, called as instructions. So we already discussed in a previous video, the computer works, the machine works based on your instructions. Now instructions are processed by central processing unit. It reads the list of instructions and executes each one in order. A list of instructions that CPU can run is a computer program. So we all know now what is computer program. So let us see how CPU works. An instruction set called as ISA is a language understood directly by a particular CPU. Now, if a program is written by using C, C++, then the CPU cannot understand that. There comes the compiler. So that works as a translator for that. So compiler is again a program. So that translates the programs which are written in C and C++, because CPU, the processor, cannot read those instructions. That we already know. The machine can read only 0 and 1, or that's called as a machine language or a binary language. Yes? Okay. So these are the different CPUs from different companies. So the famous one, as we all know, Intel. Then there is something called ARM and AMD, that is Advanced Micro Devices. Okay, then MCST, SRISA, then Sun Microsystems. These are the few famous companies which manufacture the processors. As I told, it is very small in size, but it holds millions of transistors inside. So now let us talk about the storage device. So we are discussing about the storage devices which are inside the computer. External storage devices you already know, pen drive, okay, then CD. These are the external storage devices. Even external hard disks are available nowadays. But here we are going to talk about the internal storage devices. So there are two types of memory, primary memory and the secondary memory. Memory is nothing but storage, okay. So now in primary memory, there is something called random access memory and read-only memory. And in secondary memory, we have a hard disk. Now I will show you how the RAM is visible. So this is the RAM. Okay, it looks like a scale. So it stores the data and the instruction. So when user sends instructions and data to the computer, it is stored in this one. Primarily, it will be stored in this one. This is called as random access memory or RAM. Now there is one more. It will be also like this only. That's called as read-only memory or ROM. So this is the primary memory. Now which is the secondary memory? Secondary memory is hard disk. Yes. Nowadays you get an external hard disk also, but this is the internal hard disk. So how it works? See here inside this, there is a circle kind of shape inside that. The data will be stored in that. So there will be a head. It will be revolving like that. Then the head will read the content from this particular place. Okay, so this is the internal hard disk. So it has, how we measure through the GBs, MBs, right? Kilobytes. So this holds 320 MB of data. 320 GB. MB is smaller unit. Yes, GB is bigger unit compared to MB. So it holds 320 GB. Then how much the CD holds? That holds 600 MB. Now your pen drive, in pen drive, you might have seen 4 GB, 6 GB, 8 GB. Then imagine how much data it can store. It stores 320 GB. Yes. So this is about the internal hard disk. Yes. So you all have seen now how RAM looks. Yes. So this is the random access memory. This holds 32 GB of memory. Okay. Now, functions of the RAM, which stores the code and the data that are being actively accessed by the CPU. So whenever user gives instructions and data, okay, what it happens, the data will be stored in the RAM, random access memory. So now, by chance, if the power goes, then the data which is stored in the RAM will be deleted. So it is called as volatile memory. That's why we require hard disk. That second one which I showed, the hard disk. Okay, that is a secondary memory. Whatever data collected by a RAM has to be stored in a secondary memory hard disk so that it stays permanently in the memory. So RAM usually comes in 2 GB, 4 GB, 8 GB. Yes, but can be nowadays you will get it in a larger size also. RAM is set up integrated circuits that allow the stored data to be accessed in any order. That's why it's called as random. Okay, the random access memory. Now hard disk drive is a secondary storage device. is a non-volatile storage device which stores digitally encoded data on a rapidly rotating platters with a magnetic surface. Just about every new computer comes with a hard disk these days, unless it comes with a new solid state device drive. Typical desktop hard disk drive stores between 120 to 400 GB. The which one I have showed you is 320 GB. Rotate at 7,200 RPM. Okay, so I told it rotates. So the head reads the content from the hard disk. That's called, the head is called as spindle. Hard disk drives are accessed over one of the number of bus types, including parallel ATA, serial ATA, SCSI. These are the different types of hard disk. Now, so you already saw how the hard disk is. I told there is a spindle and there will be a head to read the content from that one like this. So this is the platter where the data is stored. So now we go for a buses. What is this bus? A bus is a subsystem that transfers data between computer components inside the computer or between computers. Unlike a point-to-point connection, a bus can logically connect several peripherals over the same set of wires. Each bus defines a set of connectors to physically plug devices, cards or cable together. I have shown you that one RAM chip that is connected to a bus actually. Okay, it will be assembled in a bus. So here you can see the slots. Okay, so those are called bus or expansion slots, we can call that one. Why it is used? Now there are like we use we need to listen whatever music is played or the sound is played, then we need to listen to that. Then the sound card should be there in your cabinet. Then to view the videos, there should be a video card. How we are going to fix it? Through this bus. So expansion cards, video card, sound card, network card for the internet. You want to connect internet as well for a local area network. For the network purpose, we need a network card. Okay, so video card is expansion card whose function is to generate output images or display. Some video cards offer added functions such as video capture, TV tuner, adapter, ability to connect multiple monitors. If there is no video card, you cannot see an image or a picture in the monitor. Sound card. A sound card is an expansion card that facilitates the input and the output of video signals from a computer under the control of computer programs. Again, without sound card, you cannot hear or you cannot record your sound. You cannot give a voice in input and output mode. Network card. A network card is an expansion card that allows computers to communicate over a computer network. It allows users to connect each other either by using cables or wirelessly. So these are the different cards: expansion cards, network card, sound card, and the video card. So now we have, in this video, we have learned about the different internal parts of the computer. I've covered a few parts. Actually, there are many more other parts we need to discuss about and need to explore about. Okay, now with the help of external and internal devices, the computer performs its task. Whatever task given to the computer, it performs that with the help of external and internal. External, we already know, input and output devices are external parts of the computer. Internal parts are those parts which we have discussed now. Okay, so whatever input is given, it will be processed. So only central processing unit is not doing all the tasks. There are various other parts also which helps the CPU to perform this processing, and then the output is generated. So with this, I'm going to end this class. Okay, so now next class we will see any other new topic. Okay, till then, Jai Guru.